The night was cold, and the outpost stood silent under the pale light of the moons. The human, a traveler named Aaron, had been walking for hours through the empty desert. His boots were heavy with dust, his throat dry from the wind that carried, nothing but sand and silence. When he saw the broken shape of the outpost half buried in the dunes, he felt a spark of relief. He pushed open the rusty door and the sound echoed inside the hollow building. The air smelled of metal and old smoke. Broken tables and shattered screens lay across the floor. It was clear no one had lived here for a long time. Aaron sighed, leaning his back against the wall. He pulled out a piece of bread from his pack, hard and dry, and began to eat slowly. Then, he heard it. Soft, almost like a whisper. His head turned quickly. His eyes searched the shadows. At first he thought it was only the wind slipping through cracks in the walls. But then he saw movement. A small figure was hiding near a broken console. Aaron froze. His hand reached for the knife at his belt. The figure shifted again and he could see her better under the pale glow of the broken lights. She was a girl. No, not human. Her skin was faintly silver with faint glowing lines running. Across her arms, her eyes shone like liquid stars. She was trembling, holding her arms tight against her chest. Aaron lowered his knife slowly. He could see she was scared, not dangerous. "It's all right," he said softly, though his voice echoed in the empty room. The girl did not reply. She just stared at him, her breathing shallow. He broke his bread in half and held a piece toward her. "Here, take it," he said. She did not move. Her glowing eyes shifted from the bread to his face. He smiled a little, trying to show he meant no harm. Finally, she crawled forward, her steps slow and unsure. Her hands shook as she reached out, but the moment she touched the bread, she suddenly darted forward and sank her teeth into his hand. Aaron shouted in surprise. The pain was sharp and real. He pulled his hand back quickly, staring at the mark of her bite. For a moment he laughed, shaking his head. What was that, some kind of alien joke? He muttered, holding his bleeding hand. But the girl's face did not look playful. She was pale, her lips trembling, her eyes widened with fear, as if she had done something terrible. "You should not have touched me," she whispered, her voice, thin like wind slipping through glass. Aaron's smile faded, his hand throbbed, and he noticed something strange. The bite mark was not normal. Around the wound, his skin glowed faintly with the same light that ran across her arms. He rubbed at it, thinking it was a trick of his eyes, but the glow stayed. "What did you do to me?" he demanded. His voice was sharper now, but the girl shook her head. Tears welled in her eyes. She backed away, curling against the wall again. "I did not mean to," she whispered. "But you touched me, and now it has begun." Aaron's heart pounded. He stared at the strange glow spreading from the bite. It was not blood alone. It was something deeper, something alive inside his veins. He felt a strange heat rising in his chest, as if fire had been planted under his skin. He looked at the sea. Alien girl again. She seemed so small, so fragile, yet her bite carried something powerful, dangerous. He had thought she was only hungry, maybe desperate for food, but now he knew she carried a secret far heavier. The silence of the outpost returned, broken only by the sound of the wind outside. Aaron's breath was heavy. His hand burned. The alien girl watched him with fearful eyes, and in that empty place, under the pale moons, he realized this was not an ordinary meeting. This encounter was the beginning of something he could not yet understand, something that would change his life forever. Aaron sat on the cold floor of the ruined outpost, his back pressed against the wall. His hand throbbed where the alien girl had bitten him. The glow around the wound pulsed slowly, as if it were alive. He pressed his other hand against it, hoping to stop the strange light, but it only grew brighter the more he touched it. The alien girl crouched a few feet away, her glowing eyes fixed on him. Her body shook with fear. She wrapped her thin arms around her knees, whispering words too quiet for him to understand. Aaron wanted to demand answers, to shout at her for biting him, but something in her face kept him silent. It was not anger he saw, it was fear. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and steady. "What did you do to me?" The girl flinched at his words. She lowered her head. "I did not want to," she said, her voice trembling. "I tried to stay hidden, but you came close. You offered food. You touched me. I had no choice." Aaron frowned. "No choice? You bit me like an animal." His tone was sharp, but the glow in his veins made him more uneasy than angry. The girl lifted her head, her silver skin reflecting the dim light. "I am not an animal, human. My name is Lyra, and what I did was not a bite to hurt you, it was a bond." Aaron blinked, confused. "A bond?" She nodded slowly. "My people are hunted. We carry something inside us, something others want. If we are found alone, we are taken. If we are touched, the bond begins, and it cannot be undone." Her words made little sense to him. He shook, his head staring at the glowing veins that now spread up his wrist. "This looks like poison to me, not a bond." Lyra crawled closer, though her hands still shook. She reached out as if to touch his wound, but stopped halfway. "It is not poison. It is my life. Part of me now flows in you. You cannot run from it." Aaron's chest tightened. Her words struck him harder than the bite itself. He felt strange warmth spreading through his body, his heart beating faster than normal. His senses seemed sharper. The sound of the wind outside, the creak of the broken beams, even the soft hum of her glowing skin, all felt louder, brighter, more alive. "What happens to me now?" he asked, his voice softer than before. Lyra's eyes filled with sorrow. "The hunters will come," she whispered. "They always come. They can sense me. And now they will sense you too. Your blood carries my mark. You are tied to me." Aaron cursed under his breath. He had only wanted shelter, only wanted a quiet night away from the desert winds. Now he was caught in something dangerous. He looked at the alien girl, so fragile, yet so heavy with secrets. "Why were you hiding here?" She lowered her head again. "Because I ran. My people were captured, I escaped. They want what we carry, the power of the bond. They use it to control, to fight, to kill. I cannot let them take me." Her voice cracked, and Aaron felt the weight of her words. She was not a threat. She was a fugitive, a child running from monsters. Yet with one desperate act she had dragged him into her world. The glow in his veins pulsed again, stronger this time. His hand shook, and he clenched it into a fist. "This power, whatever it is, can I remove it? Can I break it?" Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She shook her head slowly. "No. Once the bond begins, it lives until one of us dies." Aaron's breath caught in his throat. He stared at her, shocked. "You're saying I'm stuck with this? With you?" Her lips trembled. "Yes, you are bound to me now, and because of that, the hunters will never leave you alone." Outside, a sharp howl broke through the desert winds. Aaron's blood ran cold. He turned toward the broken window. The sound was not natural. It was the cry of something hunting. Lyra's face went pale. She pulled back into the shadows, whispering, "They have found us." Aaron stood quickly, drawing his knife. His hand still glowed, his blood still burned. But now he felt strength coursing through him unlike anything before. He looked at Lyra, her body shaking with fear, and for a moment he wanted to curse her again, to blame her for dragging him into this mess, but then he saw the terror in her glowing eyes, the helplessness of someone too young, too fragile to stand against what was coming. He tightened his grip on the knife, his jaw set. "If they want you," Aaron said in a low voice, "they'll have to go through me first." Lyra stared at him, her lips parting in shock. Slowly she whispered, "You do not understand what they are, human. You cannot fight them." Aaron's veins pulsed with light, his hand burning like fire. He looked at her and gave a grim smile. "Maybe not, but I'm not running either." The outpost creaked as the wind carried the sound of claws scraping against metal. The hunters had arrived. The silence inside the outpost broke with the sound of claws dragging across the outer wall. The sharp scrape made Aaron's skin crawl. He tightened his grip on the knife, his glowing hand trembling. Lyra pressed herself against the corner, her whole body shaking as if she already knew what was coming. Aaron moved toward the broken window, his breath fogged against the cold air. In the moonlight, he saw shadows moving between the dunes, shapes too tall and too thin to be human, their bodies bent unnaturally, their limbs long and sharp, their glowing eyes fixed on the outpost. "They are here," Lyra whispered. Her voice cracked like brittle glass. "The hunters have found us." Aaron's heart pounded in his chest. He had seen dangerous creatures before in his travels across the wastelands, but these were different. Their movements were too fast, too deliberate. They were not animals. They were something far worse. He turned back to Lyra. "How many?" "3," she whispered, curling into herself. "But 3 are enough. They will not leave until they have me, and now, until they have you." Aaron cursed under his breath. His glowing veins pulsed faster. His body felt hot, as though the bite had awakened something wild inside him. He could hear the hunters outside, their claws clicking against the metal walls circling the building. The sound alone was enough to make the hairs on his neck rise. Suddenly, the door shook. A sharp strike bent the rusted metal inward. Dust fell from the ceiling. Aaron raised, his knife ready for the fight he knew was coming. The hunters moved with precision. Another strike hit the door, this time leaving a dent so deep the hinges screamed. Lyra whimpered, pressing her glowing hands against her chest. "They will not stop, human. They can smell me. They can smell you now, too." Aaron forced a steady breath. "Then let them come," he said, though fear burned in his chest. He had no armor, no gun, only a dull knife and the strange light pulsing in his veins. The door burst open. The metal screamed as it tore from the hinges, and a tall, twisted figure stepped inside. Its skin was dark like stone, but thin lines of glowing red crawled across it like burning veins. Its jaw stretched unnaturally wide, showing rows of jagged teeth. The hunter hissed, its voice a mix of growl and whisper. 2 marked ones, it said, its glowing eyes locking on Lyra first, then Aaron, the girl and the fool who carries her bond. Aaron gritted his teeth. His legs shook, but he did not back away. The hunter moved closer, claws dragging across the floor. Behind it, 2 more figures entered, their glowing eyes piercing the darkness of the outpost. Lyra cried out, her voice desperate. "Run, Aaron! You cannot fight them!" Aaron's blood burned hotter. His glowing hand clenched the knife tighter. He wanted to run. Every part of him screamed to escape, but another part of him, deeper and wilder, refused to move. Something about the bond filled him with stubborn defiance. The first hunter lunged, moving with impossible speed. Aaron raised his knife but knew he was too slow. Yet at the last moment his body shifted. His arm moved faster than his eyes could follow. The blade struck the hunter's claw, sparks flying, the impact threw Aaron backward. He slammed into the wall, the air knocked from his chest, but the hunter had stopped, staring at him with narrowed eyes. "The bond is awake," it hissed. "The human carries her fire." Aaron gasped for air, his body shook from the force, yet deep inside he felt stronger than before. The burning glow spread from his hand into his chest, into his legs. His muscles felt alive, charged with power he did not understand. The second hunter moved in, circling him like a predator. Its teeth bared. Aaron stood, wiping blood from his mouth, his voice low and defiant. "Come on, then." The outpost became chaos. Claws slashed through walls, metal groaned under the hunter's strikes. Aaron moved faster than he believed possible, dodging one claw, striking back with his knife. Each movement felt guided by the strange fire in his veins, but he was not invincible. One strike caught his shoulder, tearing his jacket and cutting deep into his skin. He cried out in pain, stumbling. The glow in his veins flared brighter, and for a moment the hunter recoiled. Snarling, Lyra's voice echoed across the chaos. "Aaron, do not give in to the fire. It will consume you if you let it. Fight with your will, not with the bond alone." Her words cut through his panic. He gritted his teeth. focusing not on the fire burning inside him but on her fragile form pressed against the wall. He could not let them take her. He would not. With a roar, Aaron charged. His knife struck deep into the leg of the nearest hunter. The creature shrieked, stumbling back. The other two hissed in fury, closing in. The outpost walls cracked, dust falling from above. The fight was tearing the place apart. Aaron's chest heaved, his body bruised and bleeding, but he stood tall, knife in hand, glowing veins blazing like fire in the dark. The hunters circled again, patient now, waiting for him to weaken. Aaron glanced at Lyra. Her eyes were wide. With both fear and hope, she whispered softly, "You should not have touched me, human, but now, maybe you are the only one who can stand with me." Aaron tightened his grip on the knife. His blood burned, his heart thundered. The hunters hissed and prepared to strike again. The hunt had only begun. The outpost shook as the hunters circled. Inside, their claws scraped against the metal floor, their glowing red veins pulsing like fire in the dark. Aaron stood with his knife ready, his chest heaving. His glowing hand trembled not from fear, but from the strange energy running through him. Lyra pressed herself against the far wall, her silver skin glowing softly. Her eyes never left Aaron. She could see the bond working inside him, spreading, faster than it should, she whispered in a shaking voice. "It is awake. The bond is awake inside you." Aaron wiped the blood from his lip. His voice came out rough. "You keep saying that, but what does it mean?" Before Lyra could answer, one of the hunters lunged, its claws slashed through the air. Aaron moved without thinking. His body reacted faster than his mind. He ducked low and drove his knife upward. The blade cut into the creature's arm. Sparks of glowing blood splashed across the floor. The hunter hissed in fury. Its other arm swung down, smashing against Aaron's side. The impact sent him flying into a broken wall. His body ached, but as he struggled to stand, the glow in his veins burned hotter. The pain dulled, replaced. By strength, he pushed himself back onto his feet. His knife still in hand, Lyra's voice carried across the chaos. "The bond is not poison. It is life shared. My fire inside you. If you let it, it will heal you, strengthen you. But if you give in too much, it will take your mind." Aaron gritted his teeth. "Great timing for warnings," he muttered. His vision sharpened. He could see the hunters' movements clearer, hear the scrape of their claws like thunder in his ears. The fire inside him roared, demanding he fight. Two hunters came at him at once, their claws flashing red in the dark. Aaron spun, his body moving with unnatural speed. His knife slashed across one creature's chest, glowing blood spilling out. The other struck his arm, cutting deep, but instead of falling, Aaron roared, his veins glowing brighter than ever. He shoved the creature back with a force that startled even himself. The hunters hissed in unison, circling him. For the first time, Aaron saw something in their eyes. Hesitation. He staggered, breathing hard. His glowing blood dripped onto the floor. His strength felt endless, yet heavy, as if something inside him was pushing to take control. He pressed a hand against his chest, trying to steady himself. "This bond," he gasped. "It's burning me alive." Lyra's voice grew desperate. "You must not lose yourself, Aaron. The bond ties us. It gives you my strength, but it feeds on your will. If your mind breaks, you will become nothing more than one of them." A hunter. Aaron froze at her words. His gaze flicked to the three monstrous figures circling him, their red veins glowing like fire, their twisted forms moving, like predators. "You're saying they were once like you?" Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, they were marked just like you. They let the bond consume them. Now they hunt their own." The revelation struck Aaron harder than any claw. His stomach twisted. He looked at his glowing hand, then at the hunters. For a moment he saw himself in them, broken, twisted, lost. The fire inside him surged again, demanding he strike. His grip on the knife tightened. His body leaned forward, ready to lunge. But Lyra's voice cut through the roar. In his mind, sharp and pleading, "Aaron, fight with your heart, not with the fire. Remember who you are." He closed his eyes for half a second. His mind focused not on the burning power, but on her voice, her fragile form pressed against the wall. He forced himself to breathe, slow and steady. When he opened his eyes, the hunters were charging. Aaron moved not with rage but with focus. His knife struck with precision, cutting across the neck of the first hunter. The creature howled and fell, glowing blood spilling onto the floor. The second lunged, but Aaron rolled aside, slamming his blade into its chest. His movements were fast, powerful, but controlled. Last hunter hissed, its red veins pulsing brighter. It crouched low, ready to strike. Aaron raised his knife, blood dripping from his wounds. His glowing veins pulsed in rhythm with Lyra's light. He could feel her life inside him. Not just fire, but something steady, something that gave him strength beyond the bond itself. The hunter leapt, claws flashing. Aaron met it head-on, his blade cut deep, his glowing hand pushing with all his strength. The creature screamed as it crashed into the floor motionless. Silence fell. The outpost groaned under the weight of the fight. Aaron stumbled back, gasping for breath. His body burned, every muscle screaming. Yet he stood alive. Lyra crawled toward him, her glowing hands trembling as she reached for his arm. "You fought them. You held the fire without losing yourself," she whispered. Her eyes were wide with both fear and awe. Aaron dropped the knife, his hand still glowing. He looked at her with heavy eyes. "So this is what you gave me, a curse and a weapon." She lowered her head, tears slipping down. Her silver skin. "I gave you my blood because without you I would be taken. I had no choice, but now we are bound. And the hunters will never stop, not until one of us is gone." Aaron clenched his jaw. He looked at the dead hunters, their glowing blood pooling across the floor. His veins still burned, his chest still pounded. He had survived. But Lyra's words told him the truth. This was only the beginning. In that quiet moment, surrounded by the fallen hunters, Aaron realized his life was no longer his own. It was tied to hers, by blood, by fire, by the bond they now shared. And in his heart, he knew the world would never be the same again. The night grew colder after the battle. The outpost was broken, walls cracked and the floor stained with glowing blood. Aaron leaned against the wall, his knife still wet. His chest rose and fell heavily, the bond's fire still burning inside him. Lyra sat close, her glowing, hands trembling as she tried to heal the cut on his shoulder. "You should rest," she whispered, her voice soft. "The bond can only carry you so far." Aaron shook his head. "Rest later. We need to move before more come." His eyes scanned the ruined door, half torn from its hinges. The desert outside was endless, but staying here felt like death. Lyra lowered her gaze. She looked tired, almost fragile, but there was no time for weakness. Together they stepped out into the cold night. The moons lit the dunes with pale silver light, and every shadow seemed alive. They walked for hours, silence stretching between them. Aaron tried to focus on the horizon, but the glow in his veins pulsed stronger with every step. It was not only power now, it was hunger, pulling at him, whispering that he could be more, faster, stronger if he let go. He clenched his fists, ignoring it. By dawn, they reached a settlement hidden among jagged rocks. Old metal walls rose above the sand, lights flickering weakly. It was a place Aaron had visited once before, a place where travelers traded stories and scraps for food. He hoped they could find shelter here. Inside the gates, the people stared. Their eyes lingered on Lyra's silver skin and glowing lines. Whispers spread quickly. Aaron felt the weight of suspicion press down on them. He pulled Lyra closer, speaking firmly to the guard at the gate. "We need a place to rest, just for the night." The guard hesitated, his gaze fixed on Lyra, but finally nodded. They were allowed inside. The settlement was quiet, filled with worn faces and tired eyes. Aaron found an old inn at the edge, where a man with a scar across his cheek greeted them. "Travelers," the man said, eyeing Lyra carefully. "Not often we see her kind here." Aaron stiffened. "She's with me. We need food." A room, nothing more. The man gave a slow nod, a smile spreading across his face that Aaron did not like. Of course, for a price. They ate in silence, bread and thin soup. Lyra stayed quiet, her eyes down. Her glowing skin drew stares from everyone in the room. Aaron kept his hand on the knife at his belt, unease crawling through him. That night, they were given a small room upstairs. The bed was rough, the air heavy with dust. Aaron sat by the door, knife in hand. Lyra curled on the bed, exhaustion pulling her into sleep. For the first time since meeting her, Aaron allowed his eyes to close only for a moment. He woke to the sound of footsteps, slow and careful. His hand tightened on the knife. The door creaked open, and the man with the scar slipped inside. Behind him, 2 others followed, their faces hungry, greedy. Aaron stood quickly, his voice sharp. "What do you want?" The scarred man grinned. "Not you, traveler her." He pointed at Lyra, who sat up suddenly, fear flashing in her glowing eyes. "Do you know how much she is worth? Do you know what her blood can buy?" Aaron's veins burned. He stepped forward. "You don't touch her," the man laughed. "You think you can stop us? I saw what she is. I saw the glow in your veins too. That means you're bonded. That makes you valuable. But her, she's priceless." The 2 men lunged toward Lyra. She cried out, scrambling back against the wall. Aaron roared. The fire, in his blood exploding. He moved faster than their eyes could follow. His knife cut through the first man's arm, sending him screaming to the floor. The second swung a heavy club, but Aaron caught it with his glowing hand, snapping the wood in half like it was nothing. The scarred man stepped back, shock flashing across his face. You're one of them already," he hissed. "The bond is eating you alive." Aaron's chest heaved, the glow in his veins flaring like fire. For a heartbeat, he felt himself slipping, the hunger in the bond whispering to kill them all. But Lyra's voice cut through his rage. "Aaron, stop, don't let it take you." He froze, his knife raised, his breathing slowed, his grip loosened. The 2 wounded men scrambled out the door, dragging the scarred man with them. Their shouts filled the inn, calling for others. Aaron turned to Lyra, his voice rough. "We can't stay, they'll sell you out, they'll call the hunters." Lyra's face was pale, tears in her glowing eyes. "This is what always happens. No one helps, no one shelters us. They see only what they can take." Aaron grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the window. "Then we run." They slipped into the night, leaving the settlement behind. The desert stretched endlessly before them. But Aaron knew the truth now. It was not only the hunters who wanted her. It was everyone, humans, outcasts, anyone desperate for power. As they ran into the darkness, Aaron felt the weight of the bond stronger than ever. It was not just fire in his veins. It was a chain tying him to Lyra's fate. And now he knew. Betrayal would follow them wherever they went. The desert stretched wide under the cold night sky. Aaron and Lyra ran until their lungs burned. The shouts from the settlement faded behind them, but neither of them slowed. Every step felt heavy, every breath sharp. The bond's fire pulsed stronger inside Aaron, urging him to keep moving even when his body begged to rest. Finally, they collapsed behind a cluster of jagged rocks, hidden from the open dunes. Aaron leaned against the stone, sweat dripping down. His face, his glowing veins flickered like faint fire under his skin. Lyra sat beside him, her hands pressed together, whispering in a language he did not understand. Aaron wiped his face, his voice rough. "They betrayed us just like you said, no one can be trusted." Lyra's eyes shimmered in the moonlight. "It has always been this way. To them I am not a child, I am a prize. To them you are no longer human, you are marked." Aaron looked at his glowing hand, the veins running up his arm. He remembered the scarred man's words. "The bond is eating you alive." His stomach tightened. "Tell me the truth, Lyra. What am I becoming?" Her lips trembled. She lowered her gaze. "The bond awakens what sleeps inside. My fire now lives in you. It makes you stronger, faster, harder to kill. But the more it grows, the more it wants. If you lose control, you will be consumed. You will become one of them." Aaron's jaw clenched. He thought of the hunters, their twisted bodies, their glowing red veins. He remembered the way they moved, driven by nothing but hunger. For a moment, he imagined himself with their claws, their jagged teeth. He shook the image from his head. No, I won't let that happen. Lyra turned to him, her glowing eyes full of sorrow. Many before you said the same, none returned. The bond is not just a gift. It is a test. If your heart is weak, you will fall. Aaron leaned his head, back against the stone, his breath heavy. The fire in his veins pulsed again, stronger. He closed his eyes, but the moment he did, he saw flashes, visions, a battlefield of glowing bodies, screams of hunters tearing through the night, and at the center himself covered in fire, his knife dripping with light that was not blood but something darker. His eyes flew open. He gasped. I saw something. Like memories, but not mine. Lyra's face paled. The bond is awakening fully. It connects you to me, to my people. You will see what we saw, feel what we felt. It will show you what waits if you cannot control it. Aaron's hands trembled. He pressed them against the stone to steady himself. So I'm cursed to carry your pain too? Lyra nodded. Yes, and your strength, it is both. The night deepened. The air grew colder. Aaron felt the bond's fire burning inside him, but this time it was different. It was not only pushing him to fight, it was teaching him to feel. Every sound in the desert was sharp, the hiss of the sand in the wind, the quiet heartbeat of Lyra beside him, even the distant cries of predators in the night. His senses were alive. Lyra placed a trembling hand on his arm. Her touch calmed the burning slightly. You are awakening faster than I thought. It should take weeks, but in you, it is days. Aaron looked at her, his voice low. Why me? Why so fast? Her eyes softened. Because your heart did not reject me, most fight the bond, but you chose to protect me. That opened the path. Aaron thought of the hunters, of the men who tried to take her, of how every time he stood between her and danger without thinking, maybe she was right. Maybe the bond was not only fire but also choice. Before he could speak, a sound carried across the dunes. A horn, low and haunting. Aaron stiffened. His knife was in his hand instantly. Lyra's face went pale. It is not the hunters, she whispered. It is worse. Figures appeared on the horizon carrying torches that flickered against the dark. A caravan armored and heavy. Their banners carried symbols Aaron did not recognize. Lyra's voice broke. The collectors, they take what the hunters cannot. They sell the marked to the highest bidder. Aaron's veins flared with light. His body stood ready. Let them try, he growled. Lyra's hand gripped his arm, her voice desperate. You do not understand. The collectors do not kill. They take, they chain. They will rip the bond from you piece by piece until nothing is left. We cannot fight them all. Aaron's jaw tightened. The fire in his veins screamed to strike, to burn, to destroy. His heart pounded with rage, but Lyra's words echoed in his mind. Fight with your heart, not with the fire. He forced himself to breathe. His eyes scanned the rocks, the dunes searching for an escape. The collectors moved closer, their torches casting long shadows. He turned to Lyra. We move now. Together, they slipped deeper into the rocky maze, staying low. The glow in Aaron's veins threatened. To betray them, he clenched his fists, willing the fire to dim. His body shook with the effort. Lyra touched his arm, whispering softly. Control it, Aaron. You are stronger than the bond, you must be. They hid in the shadows as the caravan passed, armored figures scanning the dunes with sharp eyes. The fire inside Aaron screamed to rise, to fight, but he held it down, his body trembling with the strain. Only when the collectors moved farther away did he let out a sharp breath, collapsing against the rocks. His whole body shook, sweat pouring down his face. Lyra looked at him, her voice trembling. You did it. You held it back. Aaron laughed bitterly, his voice hoarse. Barely. He looked at his glowing hand, the veins pulsing slowly now. He raised his eyes to hers. This fire inside me, it's not just power, is it? It's a battle every second. Lyra nodded, her gaze steady despite the fear in her eyes. Yes, Aaron. And tonight you took your first step toward winning it. Aaron leaned his head back, the stars above spinning in his vision. His body was breaking, yet his will stood firm. For the first time since the bite, he understood. The bond was not only a curse, it was a choice, and as long as he had that choice, he would not fall. The night had passed, but the desert gave no comfort. The sun rose over the dunes, spilling. Harsh light across the sand. Aaron and Lyra moved slowly, their bodies heavy with exhaustion. His glowing veins pulsed faintly under his skin. Hidden beneath the dirt and cuts, Lyra walked close, her silver skin dim in the daylight. Every step weighed on Aaron's mind. The bond burned quietly inside him, no longer raging like fire, but whispering. His thoughts were not always his own. Anymore, sometimes he heard echoes, voices, screams that belonged to others. He tried to shut them out, but they stayed. Finally, when they found shelter under the shadow of a broken shipwreck buried in the sand, Aaron collapsed. His knife clattered to the ground. He leaned against the old hull, sweat running down his face. I can't keep this up, he said, his voice hoarse. Every time I fight it, I lose a little more. Lyra knelt beside him, her glowing eyes filled with sorrow. She touched his hand gently. You are strong, Aaron, stronger than anyone I have seen. But you cannot fight forever. You must understand the truth of what I gave you. Aaron looked at her sharply, his chest rose and fell with anger. You keep saying truth, but you only give me half answers. Tell me what this bond really is. Tell me what's happening to me. Lyra's lips trembled. She lowered her head. Her voice was soft, almost broken. The bond is not only life, it is inheritance. My fire inside you is not a piece. It is all, slowly. It will replace what you are, piece by piece, until you are no longer human. Aaron froze. The world seemed to stop. His heart hammered in his chest. He pulled his hand back, staring at the glowing veins crawling up his arm. You're saying I'm becoming like you? Lyra shook her head slowly, tears sliding down her silver skin. No, not like me, worse. If you lose control, you will not become my kind. You will become a hunter, twisted and lost. The fire burns too bright in humans. It cannot rest. It will consume you. Aaron's stomach turned cold. He thought of the hunters he had fought, their monstrous forms, their glowing red veins. He remembered the way their eyes had locked on him, as if recognizing one of their own. His voice came out as a whisper. I'm already changing. Lyra sobbed quietly. Yes, I saw it when you fought them. The fire almost took you. I tried not to bite you, Aaron. I tried to keep you away. But you gave me food, you touched me, and in that moment, I could not stop it, the bond began, and it cannot end unless... Her voice broke. She could not finish. Aaron leaned closer, his voice hard. Unless what? Lyra's glowing eyes met his, full of pain. Unless one of us dies. If I die, the bond fades. If you die, the fire inside me burns out. That is the terrible truth of what we are. Aaron stared at her. His chest tightened. He could not believe the weight of her words. So either way, one of us is doomed? Lyra nodded, silent tears falling. Her small body shook. She whispered, I never wanted this for you. You were kind. You gave me food when no one else would. You fought for me when others turned away. I did not want to curse you, Aaron. I wanted you to live free. Aaron closed his eyes. His fists clenched. He felt the fire pulse again. Stronger now. As if, feeding on his despair, he slammed his fist into the sand. No, I won't accept that. There has to be another way. Lyra shook her head. There has never been another way. My people searched for generations. None escaped the bond. All who carried it either fell into madness or ended it themselves. Silence fell heavy between them. Only the wind moved, carrying sand across the wreck. Aaron's breathing was ragged. His heart thundered in his chest. He opened his eyes, looking at her. Then I'll be the first if... There's no way I'll make one. I won't kill you and I won't let myself turn into one of them. Lyra's lips parted, shock flashing across her face. Her tears shimmered like stars on her cheeks. You would fight fate itself? Aaron's eyes burned with determination. His glowing veins pulsed brighter. I already am. At that moment, the ground trembled. The wreck groaned. Aaron stood, knife in hand. The bond's fire surged again, his eyes locked on the horizon, where shadows moved. Hunters more than before, their glowing red veins burning against the sand. Lyra gasped, clutching his arm. They have found us. They will not stop until you are taken. Until I am taken. Aaron's veins blazed like fire. His body shook under the weight of the bond, but he stood tall. His voice cut through the air, steady and defiant. Then let them come. I'll fight them all. I'll fight the bond. I'll fight fate itself if I have to. Lyra stared at him, her fear mixing with something else. Hope, she whispered. Maybe you are the one. The hunters closed in, their claws scraping against the dunes, their voices hissing in the wind. Aaron raised his knife, the glow of his veins lighting the wreck around them. His heart thundered, not with despair, but with resolve. The terrible truth weighed heavy on him, death or transformation. But Aaron was not a man who bowed to fate. With Lyra at his side, he stepped forward into the storm, ready to face whatever waited in the dark.